Right, well, I'm delighted to say we've got managed to get Ian this morning. The original plan was we were going to do this little chat at Farsley yesterday, but it was a few things happening at Farsley yesterday, which made it a bit difficult. And I think we all understand the difficulties they were facing. So I think it was best that we stood down. I would like to thank everybody for the questions. We have received a lot today. Some of them are repetitive, and some we have covered before. But it's great to see that the interest is still strong in the club. And I think there's a different emphasis at the moment, Ian. I think people are more worried now. We're at that top end of the league and things are going well, which is great to see.
Yeah, no, it's and I imagine it's going to be a lot easier for me to answer questions
Yeah.
about the top end of the league than at the bottom. So
yeah,
all better.
Yeah, just a quick chat about the football then generally. It's been a remarkable turnaround, hasn't it? I think we all said at the start of the season we could see it was going to come, but it's taken me by surprise. And has it you as well?
To be honest, no, Rob, because Liam and I in particular have been kind of, it's not overnight in the sense that we started to build this squad probably 12, 18 months ago. If you look at your Adam Ansons, Charlie Oliver, Jack Bainbridge, Marcus, that spine has been there now for, a good in excess of 12 months. So we knew the intention was always to build a squad that would be young and fit and good players. And we knew it would take time to gel. But we always knew that the players that we brought in were good players. And we knew that it would come at some time. But we also knew it would take time. We knew that we weren't going to get success overnight.
Yeah.
And what we were looking at from day one, really, when Liam and Potty and I sat down together, was we were looking at the likes of Chorley. Now, obviously, Chorley went up with a squad that they'd kept together for a long time. But we thought that the problem Chorley had was by the time they went up, it was quite an old squad. And they didn't have the legs necessarily to kind of compete with National League sides. So our intention was always to do the same with a squad, keep it together, but a younger squad and a squad that, should we go up, will be capable, particularly fitness-wise, but also ability-wise, to compete in the league above. And as I say, we knew that would take time, and we're not there yet. We're only in December now, but the signs are there, and it hasn't been particularly easy. It wasn't easy at the beginning of the season when everyone knew we had a tough run in, and everybody kind of going to the games were saying to us, well, we can see they're playing well and we can see they're giving 110%.
Yeah.
We just need to get those wins. And again, it's never easy. It's never easy when, we knew 90% of the fans were on our side. But it's still never easy when kind of, I can think of Brackley away, when there might be one or two fans walking out after the game saying, something's got to change. You got to sack the manager. You got to do this. It's difficult because we knew we had a good side and we knew we had good lads. And we knew it was going to turn. It was just a case of when. And luckily enough, it has. And I think the big difference now is that, they are playing well. There's no question of the spirit in the team, which, it's a true Liam side now. I think, he's always been well known for his man management. I think everyone can see that.
Yeah.
But it's games like Blythe away last week where even when we're not playing particularly well, we're still grinding out those results, and I think that's the difference.
Yeah, lovely. Okay, well, can we just talk about one of probably the most topical thing at the moment is COVID and the impact, yes, again, we might be facing with it. One of the questions that we received was, what have the club done proactively to get all our squad players and management team to get 2 vaccinations and now the booster jabs, given that postponed games cost the clubs and sometimes the fans money, but also sets a positive example to our fan base and the local community?
I don't know if that question's aimed towards me or the government.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
What can you do?
What can you do?
Yeah. All we can do is lead by example. And Liam and I have made it clear to everyone, you know, we've had our 2 injections on our booster. Potsy's had his 2, and will have his booster once he's had his operation. And we keep feeding that down that, you know, we've done everything that we can, and they should all follow suit. A number of them have, some of them haven't. And again, until the government come out and say it's compulsory, our hands are tied. All we can do is kind of keep on at them. You know, yesterday was a perfect example.
Yeah.
That they could see yesterday the effect it had on Farsley, in players dropping like flies. You know, and all we can do is hope that they are continuing to take on board the message that we give, and see what's going on around them.
Yeah, good. Okay, one thing, the question we've got, with the last 3 home attendances being 686, 429 and 851. Now, one of those was a Tuesday night and one was an FA Trophy game. Are there any initiatives planned in place to attract more spectators as the team has now climbed into playoff places?
I think that answers your question a little bit. You know, they were 2 Tuesday nights and one was a World Cup game. I think if you took the 3 games before that from memory, I think we had a couple of 900s and one at over 1,000. And it's always a difficult question, initiatives get fans in, because you know, we have a loyal following of season ticket holders and members, and you know, if I suddenly turn around and say, right, the entrance fee for the Curzon game is £5, season ticket holders and members are going to be up in arms saying, well, hang on a minute, you know, that's not very fair. You know, and it may well have been before my time, but initiatives such as the kind of, you know, bring a friend initiative, well, exactly, you see your reaction, and this is the concern, is that, you know, it's difficult as to how to pitch initiatives to get fans in. I think all we can do is stick kind of to our roots. You know, we have, over the last 2 or 3 years, really been trying hard to get a younger group of fans in. You know, and you know, we think that's winning. I think, you know, every fans forum you read on a weekend, whoever we've played mentions the travel and support from Southport. You know, there's plaudits everywhere we go. You know, this is a younger fan base, and not just kind of the 18 to 30s. You know, we've got younger children also coming to the game. You've only got to look around on a Saturday now and see the number of children there compared to, say, 3 or 4 years ago. So I think all we can do is kind of stick to what we're doing. You know, and okay, I think those figures are slightly tainted because of the nature of the 3 games. But you know, as an example, I think Brackley, who are top of the league, took 5 fans yesterday to Gateshead. Whereas I stopped at a service station on the way home, and it was full of Southport fans. And I think that's the difference, is that, you know, we might not be there yet. We would always like more fans, and we will always do and listen to any ideas that anyone's got. But you know, I think it is working. We'll just have to keep seeing how it goes.
I think the half-season tickets for the youngsters particularly have proved very popular, Ian, and that seems to have gone down really well. And it's some a way, I think the younger group have got involved maybe later on in the season, and now they see a good way of doing it through the half-season tickets, and that's been good.
And you know, I've seen new faces there. And again, new faces in that kind of in both groups, in respect of children and in respect of teens upwards. So we're doing something. We've just got to keep doing that and pushing that. And you would hope that as the results improve and keep improving, the interest across the town kind of increases as well.
Lovely. Right, can we just move on to a few of the financial ones, which you can say what you wish on this one, but I'm going to ask them because they've been asked. So it's a good one, really, though, that Southport Football Club is listed as a creditor of the Pure Group. Is this in relation to the stadium sponsorship for this season? And if so, what do you see as the main impact of the resultant shortfall?
We're trying to get to the bottom of where we're at with the administrator. The amount that's listed is actually from the season before last, because everyone, particularly when the news came out about Pure, and understandably, everyone was, coming to us and asking how it was going to affect us. But the reality is that we haven't had any money from Pure or the stadium sponsorship for a good while. I'm sure if Steve was here, he'd probably put me in the right direction, but I think the last payment was around March 2020. So it's money that we haven't been getting and haven't had. And, when you think that we've come through everything since March 2020 without any stadium sponsorship from Pure, it's money that we haven't had. And because of that, it's money that we haven't factored in or been reliant upon. So we've continued to, Liam and Potty and I have continued to manage the club basically with what we've got, as opposed to, assuming that it will come at this date or it'll come at that date. We've managed with what we've got.
How hard has that been, Ian? There wasn't money coming in at one stage, was there?
No, there wasn't. But again, it's a case of kind of managing very carefully. We've not overspent. We've not got players on silly wages. I was speaking to the CEO of Farsley yesterday, Josh, who was telling me about the kind of difficulties he had because he had a few injuries in his 24-man squad.
Yeah.
Well, that's a luxury to us because I think we're only at about 17 or 18 anyway.
Yeah.
And that's not. It's unfair to say that's just financially because that's how Liam wanted it.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that Liam likes his small, tight-knit squad, and you've only got to look at our bench yesterday to see how, if you've got a strong squad with strong players, you don't need 24, 25, 26 players. Because when you've got a Marcus Carver or a Josh Shamami, when you've got those kind of players on the bench, you're not going too far wrong. And again, if the Pure money had come in and we'd have been getting that sponsorship money, I don't for one second think that Liam would have been saying to me, let's go out and pay £1,000 a week for a star striker.
Yeah. It's not his way, is it?
No, it's not how he operates, and it's not how we want to operate. And we've got to kind of keep the positives. At the moment, we're operating a good squad, albeit small, on the basis of the money that we have. Let's not kind of forget that we've purposely built the club over the last 3 or 4 years. And I remember interviews that we did a couple of years ago where I was continually kind of repeating the need to be self-sufficient. Well, that's what we aimed for 3 or 4 years ago. When Phil was with us, we built up the main stand so that we had the hospitality to provide us with an income. I paid for the pitch because that was always going to be an asset for the Everton contract. And it's those things that have kind of kept us ticking over. And that's why in an ideal world, it would be great if we had received the money from Pure, but we didn't. And it would be really good now if we could go out and get a new stadium sponsor and they introduce new funds to the club. I mean, again, Steve is working night and day to try and make that happen. Because again, that's money that we haven't got. And if that comes in, all the better.
Yeah, we just answered one of the questions about the progress on the stadium sponsorship. We're going to get Steve in the new year because he wasn't available this morning. So we're going to get him in the new year and he's going to do a little chat with us as well. So he can give us a little update on that, hopefully in the new year.
He's probably still trying to find his way home in the fog.
It was a bit grim, wasn't it? Yeah. It's interesting that I know you're talking about the squad. And when I saw Jack Bainbridge sending off, I think it was Darlington, wasn't it? And I think everybody thought, oh no, we're losing one of the key players. But the squad, they pulled together, and Charlie Munro's coming, and he's been exceptional, hasn't he, since he's coming in? And I think we all panic. Oh, we've got a very low numbers in number, but the quality is there.
Well, I mean, again, it comes back to Liam's thinking over the last 18 months or so, and as long as we've got that spine, then the players that we bring in, we know exactly what players to look for. We know exactly what players to go out. Liam's got some a great scout in Tommy, who knows the Northwest like no one else. And Liam, we all know Liam in that he's already got backup plans. Should we need a player at this position, or should we need a player at that position? He knows exactly where he's going. He knows who to bring in, and that's been the case for the last 18 months or so.
Yeah.
And it's getting that balance, which we think we've got, whereby let's not forget we've lost Chris Doyle for the last month. Chris was on absolutely fantastic form before he got injured. I'd have said that Chris was our player of the season up to that point.
Yeah.
And then you bring in a player of the quality of Liam Edwards. That's kind of how we're operating.
Yeah.
When Chris Doyle comes back, and you've got Liam Edwards, and you've got Adam Hansen, and you've got Doug Thorne, and you've got Doyley, and you've got Charlie Oliver. You can see.
It's not bad, is it?
Well, it's not. But Liam has ensured that although the squad seems small, you've got that in every area. You look across the middle with Jack Bainbridge, you've got Dylan Vassallo, you've got Josh Amami, Charlie Munro, Charlie Oliver could go into the middle. Again, he's got options. And he's got options when the players who are on the bench each week are a bit cheesed off because they've played well the week before.
Yeah.
But again, it's that kind of spirit in the squad at the minute, is that they know they'll be playing next game. And as long as you can keep rotating and keep those happy, it's a good place to be.
Yeah. Well, talking about the players like that, we know we've got some good players. And I think there's an article in the non-league paper today that Liam's done suggesting that there's been people looking at some of our players, which we know, because where I sit, you see the scouts all around, and we've been inundated with scouts this year.
Don't let any of the players know that, Rob. There's no one watching anyone.
I'll cut that. No, I think they already know, to be honest. But no, seriously, there's there is interest there, isn't? And the concern is that we might lose players in January, which I know Liam will always say he has never ever stood in the way of a player's progression. What's your take on that? From a fan's point of view, we want to keep that squad together, don't we? But we also need to be careful.
We do, but again, it's a trust issue, and you need to trust that we're making the right decisions for the players and for the club.
Yeah.
And it's a reflection on how well they are doing, and it's a reflection on the work that Liam and Tommy are doing behind the scenes, that we're bringing in players who are creating that interest.
Yeah.
And if we weren't, we wouldn't be able to attract these players in the first place. Liam and I, we met, I think two off the top of my head, we met Adam Hansen before he signed. We went to meet Doug Thorne before he signed. And, a major factor in why they signed is because they are ambitious players. They are ambitious players who want to move up the pyramid. And they want to come to a club where that's going to happen, and where they're going to be given every opportunity to do that. And they're the type of players we want. We want players who want to progress their careers. And if we can show them evidence that we can help them do that, then they're more inclined to come to Southport. Adam had plenty of offers. Doug had plenty of offers. You need to persuade these players to come to your club. And again, at this stage, we're not necessarily looking for, offense to anyone, but we're not looking for career players who are coming to see out the end of their career, get a good wage, get one last big payoff and go into coaching. We're looking for players who really are young, hungry, ambitious, and they need to see the pathway up. And the best way to do that is to show them the Dions of the world and the Devons of the world, where we've been able to do that and move those players on.
Yeah.
No one wanted to see Morgs go, but it was the right choice for his career. And if we can evidence that, we're going to attract the players to come to Southport. And it just means that there's more pressure again on Liam and Tommy to make sure that, if a player does go in the January, we've already got lined up his replacement, who's going to be a similar type of player to fit into this squad and do what the leaving player was able to do.
Yeah. Okay. This one we have covered before, but we'll reiterate it again. Are there any plans to strengthen the board?
always.
Yeah.
I think I'll never tire in kind of doing these interviews and saying that if there are people out there who think they can add to the board, who think they can add either expertise wise, financially, get in touch. You know, it's never going to be a case that somebody who can assist the board, as I say, either financially or expertise wise, is going to be told no. You know, we're a closed door and we're not interested.
Yeah.
Liam Potty and I are very clear in that, you know, we're here for the benefit of the club. And, you know, the more people who can get involved and help in that respect, the better it is for everyone.
Excellent. I think the next, we've got a couple along this line, and people concerned about us getting promotion, and can we afford it if we end up doing what I don't think anybody expected at the start of the season, but can we afford it, Ian?
Again, Rob, this goes back to where we started the interview, in that we've built this squad on what we thought we needed to go up and survive, not just to go up, but to go up and survive in the National League. So we don't think that if we go up, it's a case of, thanks lads, you know, you're off, we're going to replace you with more expensive players at a higher level. Because I don't think there's anyone in this squad who would struggle week in, week out above. It would be a case, I would have thought, you know, not having discussed it in detail with Liam, but I think it would be a case of, if we went up, what do we need to add to the squad? You know, possibly in the way of a bit of experience, a couple of players who are experienced at the level above. But I don't think there would be necessarily a huge need to change what we've got.
Yeah.
So financially, yes, I think we would survive, and football-wise, yes, I think we would survive.
Yeah, excellent. Question about the impact that Terry MacPhillips has made. Really, I was looking at our record. I think we're pretty much unbeaten since he came on. Is he likely to be staying long term with us? And you know, that's the question. Is he likely to be staying long term with us?
Well, I think Liam would prefer me to say it's nothing to do with Terry. This is all Liam's master plan.
He said that to me, but I cut that bit out.
Terry's just a bit part. No, Terry. You know, Liam has always had massive respect for Terry. You know, I think I probably said to your interview before that we wanted to give the job to Terry a few years ago when he was at Blackpool. Yeah. You know, everyone I've spoken to speaks highly of Terry, and you know, I think everyone can see, you know, joking aside, you know, he is having a great input, and more importantly, he has fit in to the squad and how the squad operates. So, you know, yes, we will be kind of sitting down and trying to tie Terry down. There are conversations that we'll be having with Terry very soon. But again, it's something that Liam and I are doing anyway, because we're now at the stage of the season where we're doing it with the players. You know, we're looking to tie down the players now, you know, for the next season and next 2 seasons, because we don't want any of this current squad being lost through, you know, lack of contract moving forward.
Yeah.
So, you know, we usually sit down over Christmas to do that. You know, we've already kind of started that process, and hopefully, you know, over the next few weeks, you know, you'll see a number of, well, you particularly though from a media perspective, we'll see a number of statements going out in relation to players who are extending contracts, signing contracts for next season. And Terry is no different to that. You know, he's a vital part of the squad, and we'll be having those chats with him.
Yeah, thoroughly nice guy as well, isn't he? He's fit in really well to the whole setup.
Yeah.
I'm dreading asking this. I don't really know if I'm going to like the answer, but every other club at our level seem to have match commentaries. Why don't we? We have a lot of exile fans who can't make it to games, and our home fans who don't travel to away games listen to the home commentary, which is usually very biased. Is it something we can consider?
We should have dealt with this at the same time as the question over the attendances and how initiatives.
Yeah.
But I fully understand exiled fans and why they would want commentary from home games, but then you've got to ask yourself how many of the fans who pay on the day might not come. if we've got home commentary?
Yeah.
And it's a difficult question,
Yeah.
but I think there's the answer. You know, we need bums on seats at the end of the day. And you know, you look at kind of, I mean, again, it goes back to the loyalty from season ticket holders and members, but we do need to attract those people who will pay on the day.
Yeah.
And you know, you look at yesterday, you look at the fog, you look at the really bad weather we've had of late. How many of those would have stayed at home and listened to it on the radio in front of a nice roaring fire with a cup of tea? And you know, that's the problem. And that's why I think, firstly, you know, we can't really consider home commentary. And secondly, you know, as you know yourself, there's only one Rob.
Yeah.
So the media team as a whole has got a lot to do on match day anyway. So it would be difficult logistically.
Yeah, I like that answer, Ian. Thank you. I'll never do an interview with you without talking about catering, which I know is your favourite subject at Southport Football Club. But and it's a fair point, collecting a lot of plaudits from away fans for the catering down at the away end, which seems to be going down really, really well. And is there any chance that could be moved into the home end, or is there a way that we did it for when the weather hit the last game? Is that a possibility?
What we were trying to do, and what we've been trying to do, is firstly, before COVID hit, we recognised that food on a match day is an important aspect of that day. And, you know, me as much as anyone else, you know, I can tell you the quality of the away food at most grounds.
We had noticed, Ian, you like your chips.
Yeah, well, as I say, you know, I think it's unfair not to trial it at each ground. And I know there are others, Noel Warham and the likes, who are exactly the same as me, who, you know, it does factor into where you are going on an away day.
Yeah.
And we are very alive to that. And to that end, we didn't want match day catering to be just, you know, your bog standard, you know, the same you get at 70% of away grounds, which is low quality. So we decided to kind of run a number of trials, and then we got hit by COVID and lockdown, and it became difficult. And then there's getting the right balance. You know, we thought maybe hog roasts might be a bit different. And then you kind of immediately get objection from people who object to there being a hog roast at the ground. So we've been trialing different caterers and different ways of doing it to try and find the right way forward, and find a way that will attract fans to come to the ground in addition to the football. And it does work, because, you know, all plaudits have gone to the away end catering at the moment.
Yeah.
The home end catering has to kind of step up and match that, and that's what we'll try to do. There are numerous possibilities. Trials are still ongoing, moving forward. But, you know, we have seen across fans forums, other fans you know, again, plaudits for the food at Hague Avenue. And other fans read other fans forums, and that means that they will then come to the next away game. Great. But we want to get to a position where all fans across the stadium are all enjoying the catering. And it might have taken us a while to get there because of COVID and lockdown and everything else, but we're confident that that's where we'll be. And there will be a much better fare on offer on the day, which all adds to the match day effect, which again then goes back to our let's get more fans into the ground. Yeah.
It's the same person asking this question. I seem to recall a while ago that there was some talk of a pop-up bar in the fan zone that would see a return of rail ale for fans at the ground. Is this likely to happen? And could the 1881 lounge have rail ale on? Now, I'm not a rail ale person, so I don't understand the fascination with all that. But is that, I thought we did have some sort of rail ale on there, but is that wrong?
Yeah, I think this would be a better question to Steve.
Yeah, okay.
Because, you know, I can kind of tell you all the plaudits we're getting for
Lewis Deli in the away end for the
Yeah.
catering. Steve is working with the kind of bar side of things.
Okay.
He is talking to the likes of Golden Sands as regards getting the real ale in. But again, you know, we are conscious that we lost 12 months moving all this forward. You know, the likes of the fan zone, it's very much a case of let's see how it's working and what fans want in there. But it's been difficult to gauge that because we're playing catch up.
Yeah.
And this season is very much about catch up. It is about seeing what works and what doesn't. It's about seeing, you know, what we can change to the positive or not. You know, we get the pop-up bars running really well, and next thing, 2 storms come in and destroy them.
Yeah.
That's what we've been up against. So yeah, you know, everything at the moment is trial and error. Steve's only been in the job since August. So again, you know, he's kind of getting on board himself with a lot of this. And we'll keep listening. I think that's the key. We'll keep listening to the fans. We'll keep listening to the comments. You know, most people are not afraid to come up and have a word with me or Steve, be it home or away, tell us what they think. Keep doing it.
Yeah, excellent. Just a couple more. This one, we don't seem to be as active in the community as we once were, and the soccer schools have stopped. I appreciate COVID has made things very difficult in this area, but will we be looking to build up our community links once again?
COVID has made things very difficult in this area.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we did. I think we had quite a thriving, particularly kind of junior section.
Yeah.
We did a lot of work in the community over lockdown.
Yeah.
You know, obviously this was James Tedford at the time. We never stopped. Everything, all the focus we were putting into the club over lockdown went into the community.
Yeah.
You know, your walking football was going whenever it could and continued to do so. I think anybody who looks on social media sees all the input we still have to all the junior teams. You know, every week I see I have a look and see who the players of the week are across all the junior sections. So there is still a lot of community work out there that we are doing, subject to what we can do with everything going on with COVID. You know, at the moment we've got a thriving kind of ages 7 through to 16 sections, which again might be why we're getting so many more children at the game. The gap at the moment is academy level, which again was put on hold because of various issues with COVID and lockdown, but we're now talking to 2 or 3 potential providers that we'll work with for a new academy starting from September onwards. And that, to be fair, that's really quite an exciting area that we're looking at.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think there's necessarily less happening in the community. I think everybody has worked really well at the club to make sure that continues through what's been a really difficult period.
Yeah. Okay. I think everybody's currently monitoring Accrington Stanley's lineup every week for a certain player's name to appear. He seems to have disappeared off the radar. We're all hoping there was going to be a big transfer fee for Dion. Do you know, have you any update on what the situation is there, Ian?
Even if I had, Rob, I wouldn't tell you.
I thought you might say that. So I've got to ask you though.
I think you know, you've only got to look at all the kind of media out there as to the difficulty that Dion and Accrington and particularly John Coleman are in at the moment. You know, John is one of the nicest men in football. You know, he's probably one of the most switched on men in football. And the last thing he would have wanted would be to be in a situation like that with Dion. I am not the biggest fan of agents in any event. So it's quite easy for me to point the finger at Dion's agent, who I believe he is now switched and moved.
Right.
So, you know, all we can do is kind of sit tight and see what happens in January.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we've covered the main things. There's a couple of odds and ends, but I think nearly everybody that sent a question in has said to pass on the congratulations to the board for keeping faith with Liam and the players. The promising stand we saw back in September is now finally paying dividends in terms of our league position. And again, everyone's just wishing the club well and thankful to you and the
I
group
think,
for doing everything they're doing.
I think again, it's really, really important to stress, and I'm sure I've stressed before, that even, you know, even when we were rock bottom of the league, the huge majority of fans were coming up to me, and I presume Liam, and telling us that the football was good to watch. It was entertaining football. The lads were given 110%, and the quality was there, and they all knew that it would turn. And to be fair to them, you know, there was very little criticism at all. And we are talking about literally the odd one or two who obviously were seeing it a different way and wanted to make their feelings known as to how bad it apparently was. But as I say, 99% could see exactly what we were doing, could see how well the lads were playing. And I think more importantly, could see the commitment that they were showing week in, week out. And we all knew it would turn. You know, I can't kind of stress enough over the Jack Carr lads and the support that they've given week in, week out, because they don't have to, because everyone else does it for me everywhere we go. You know, I was reading a Farsley forum yesterday talking about, you know, how well supported we were yesterday, and for what they could see from one end to the other. So, you know, that has made a massive difference. And you know, a lot is made of the Jack Carr lads, but it's not just the Jack Carr lads.
No.
You know, I'm getting people coming up to me in the main stands, you know, since day one this season, saying that they can see the quality is there, it'll come. You know, and that's where we're at the moment.
I think as we were coming off the pitch yesterday, the hairs on the back of my neck were standing on the camaraderie between the fans, and there was a lot there. The gate was only 200.
What hairs, Rob?
Thank you very much. I've got some on the back of my neck. The gate was only 269 yesterday, but how many Southport fans were there? And that bond was so apparent that, you know, we'd hardly seen a thing, had we, to be honest. But it was great as people were coming off yesterday. The atmosphere.
I said to Clay when I got home that there were more Southport fans playing football in the service station, where that a lot of other teams take to away games or bring to Hague Avenue.
Really, yeah.
So that's no bad thing, and that shows that, kind of initiatives aside, the support is there. And, you know, you've only got to see the lads as they come off each week. They are really enjoying it. And they talk about it at training. They talk about it on the coach. You know, I see a lot of interaction between the players and the fans on social media, and normally that would make me panic. And normally I would be trying to kind of stop all that, but it's so positive at the moment, and that's because the appreciation that the players have for the support that they're getting, and it's a massive factor.
Julia and I went to training the other week just to get some Christmas messages after that, and you could see, we were only there half an hour, but you could see just what a great group of lads they were. They're all having a laugh and good, and you don't always get that, and I think that must make a difference, mustn't it?
And you know, I kind of touch wood, but it seems a happy place to be at the minute. And you know, a lot of kind of plaudits go to Liam for that. Because that's how he wanted it. You know, that's specifically how he's wanted it for the last 18 months. He has wanted his group of players at a squad of his choosing. He's now got that, and you know, it's paying dividends.
Okay, final message for the fans as we come into Christmas then, Ian.
Well, I mean, again, you know, we're not where we are at the moment without their support. That's kind of evident week in, week out. We really can't say enough about that. So, I mean, again, you know, Liam, Potty and I would like to thank everyone for that. Let's keep it going. Let's enjoy the season and have a good Christmas.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ian.
Thanks a lot.